So, in the world of law, you've got lawyers, right? But then you have to ask, who keeps the lawyers in check? Today, we're diving deep into one of the most vital bodies in Pakistan's entire legal system, the Pakistan Bar Council. It's a really fundamental question for any country with a justice system. I mean, we put our trust in lawyers to be the guardians of the law, but that immediately begs the next question: who is guarding the guardians? While in Pakistan, the answer to that big question lies with the highest legal body in the entire country, an organization built for this exact purpose. And that body is the Pakistan Bar Council, or you'll often hear it called the PBC. It is, quite literally, the top elected group of lawyers in the nation. And it's not some ancient institution. It was officially brought into being by an act of parliament back in 1973. So, how does this whole thing work? You know, a pretty good way to think about the PBC is like a parliament, but just for lawyers. So let's break down how it's actually structured. The year you really need to remember is 1973. That's when the Legal Practitioners and Bar Councils Act was passed. This was the moment that gave the PBC its official mandate and, the real legal teeth to regulate the entire profession. Now, any organization like this needs people. It needs leadership. So, who exactly is running the show over at the council? Believe it or not, the entire council is made up of just 22 members. Yeah, only 22. That's a surprisingly small and, I guess, focused group, especially when you think about the fact that they represent every single lawyer in the country. And what's so important here is that this is a truly democratic body. These 22 people aren't just appointed by someone. Nope, they are elected for a 5-year term by their own peers from the provincial bar councils. The whole system uses what's called a single transferable vote, which basically makes sure that lawyers from every single province get a voice at the table. So even though you've got those 22 members, the actual power, the day-to-day running of things, is really concentrated into 3 very distinct leadership roles. Okay, so let's unpack this leadership structure. First, you have the vice chairman. Think of this person as the formal head, kind of like a ceremonial president. Then you have the chairman of the executive committee. This is the person with the real day-to-day executive power. And finally, you have the Attorney General of Pakistan, who serves as an overseer, what they call the ex officio chairman. And this is where you really see a clear separation of powers. The chairman of the executive committee, they have full authority over all matters of the Bar Council, period. The Attorney General, on the other hand, has a very specific, very limited role. They're mainly there to oversee the elections, to make sure everything's fair, but they don't get involved in the council's actual work. All right, so we know who they are, we know how they're structured, but what's their core mission? What does the Pakistan Bar Council actually do all day? Their official mission really boils down to this. They are responsible for safeguarding the rights of lawyers, regulating their conduct, and helping in the administration of justice. It's a really powerful 3-part mandate. Okay, so what does that actually mean in simple terms? In practice, their job breaks down into 4 key areas: protecting their own members, policing their conduct, assisting the justice system as a whole, and, this one's a biggie, acting as the gatekeepers to the Supreme Court. And this gatekeeping role, it's a huge deal. If you want to argue a case in the Supreme Court of Pakistan, you absolutely have to be recognized by the Bar Council. They control access, which is easily one of their most significant powers. It's how they ensure a really high standard of lawyering at the very highest level. So all of this is obviously very important for lawyers. But why should the rest of us, you and me, why should we care? What's the council's impact beyond the walls of the courtroom? Well, at the end of the day, it all comes down to one simple word: trust. When you know that the people practicing law are being held to a high standard by their own peers, it helps build public confidence in the entire justice system. You can trust that the system is trying to be fair and that the people inside it are held accountable. So, what's that big picture impact? Well, the PBC provides real accountability. It creates a formal system for that. It also ensures that there are consistent standards for legal practice across the whole country. And maybe most importantly, it maintains public trust by showing that the legal profession takes self-regulation seriously. So really, if you take away just one thing, it's this: the Pakistan Bar Council exists to make sure that the guardians of the law are themselves governed by a strict set of rules. It's all about making sure the guardians are governed.
And that kind of brings us full circle, doesn't it? Right back to where we started, but now with a whole new layer of things to think about. The Bar Council guards the lawyers, but it does leave us with one lingering question. Who then guards the guardians?